This is 5 Star Life Radio on News Talk 95.3 Michiana's News Channel, your breaking news and weather station.
You're listening to 5 Star Life Radio, brought to you by Global Link Distribution, a supplier to the RV, manufactured housing, cargo trailer, and cabinet shop industries, and Dometic, the ultimate outdoor equipment engineered for living. You can check them out at Dometic.com. Both Global Link and Dometic are proud sponsors of 5 Star Life Radio. I'm Coach Seth, and I'm in studio here at 95.3 MNC, joined with my co-host, Coach Mia.
Thanks, Seth.
And if you tuned in, I want to encourage you, if you just tuned in, you're like, what is 5 Star Life Radio all about? You need to go to our website and check it out, 5starlife.org. We're a nonprofit organization. 17 years ago, we decided to start because 7,000 kids were dropping out of school every single school day in America. That's picture a student, put that student in the school desk, start stacking the width of the Empire State Building and the height of the Empire State Building. All the way to the top. Fill it up. That's a visual. Well, actually, that's a snapshot because you have to do that 12 more times. 12 Empire State Buildings. That's what was happening when we started 5 Star Life. And we said, rather than, shouting from outside the world of impact like everybody does, the Sunday afternoon, our Monday armchair quarterback, we said, why don't we do something to provide a solution? I think there's so many people in this world that we can point out something that's wrong, but there's fewer people that have solutions of how to fix it. And we live in such polarizing times, and we need solutions. So this whole show is all about solutions. We want you to be a part of the solutions because for the last 17 years, kids that have joined our programs, over 70% raised their GPA. We've watched discipline referrals go down in the schools. We've watched in Elkhart schools where we started 17 years ago, they started with their graduation rate was somewhere in the 60th percent. And over the last couple of years, they're in their 93, 94th percentile. So, and the superintendent said, listen, 5 Star is a huge part of that. So, what we're talking about works. How do you move the needle on dropout rates, on kids underperforming? Research says you got to get to the core. It starts with their operating system, their mindset. And so everything 5 Star Life does is designed to get to their core, and it creates a domino effect from the inside out. So much of what we're doing, other programs, other organizations, and again, there's a lot of great ones out there, but we've just settled into doing stuff with kids, and they're Band-Aids. It's got to start from the inside out. That's why we're here. Go to 5starlife.org to learn more. Mia, we've been in studio filming our curriculum, and it's been amazing. I just talked to a principal who's just sharing how powerful this series is and how on point it is. But we're actually filming something that kids are going to be seeing here soon, and we're doing a series on conflict. Which has been a lot of fun because there's a lot of conflict in the world.
And I think it's some of your best teaching. I really do. I think the concepts are just on point, and the way that you break it down and share your own stories, it's just so relatable.
Thank you. Conflict, I just want to talk to our listening audience. Think about your life right now and think about, when I said the word conflict, I don't know what flashed through your brain, but if you just take a moment, I bet you could probably find different strains of conflict in your life, whether there's the family conflict, there's like the friendships, there's often a conflict going on somewhere in a friendship, and then you come to family, there's often some kind of conflict in family, and you have work, and sometimes you have internal conflict, and so you think about it, there's a lot of conflict. And so we've broken down conflict in many different ways. And I think the biggest one we start with kids is that inner conflict. Because most of our external conflict with others is triggered by our own internal inner conflict.
But just the word conflict, you assume that it's with somebody else.
Yeah.
So I thought that was so powerful when you bring it up that you really got to start with you.
Starts with us. And I'm telling you what, if you're listening, and if you haven't considered your own inner conflict, I'm going to say 90% of my conflicts begin with myself. And the level of success I have in dealing with conflict well, I'm telling you, it's like 90% is me. If I can process my own internal conflict in the conflict first and get to a place of not just sanity, let's raise the bar beyond just being sane. Let's get mentally healthy so that when we go into conflict, we're not coming from a place of disrespect or anger or hurt, but we're grounded. And that's got to be a starting point. So one of the things I want to talk about today is we did this lesson, like, let's just assume that you've resolved your inner conflict and you are great and you are a person of peace. You're not overreacting like Bree talked about in a previous segment. You're not letting your emotions just swell up and blow up on people. Like, you're beyond that. And let's just say you're now focusing on the next level of conflict, and that's people who are mean on purpose. Like, we both work with a lot of people. Mm-hmm. I've dealt with tens of thousands of people, and I've dealt with a lot of conflict. But out of all those thousands of people I interact with, I'm going to say I can count on one hand the number of people I've interacted with and have conflict with who are actually mean on purpose. A lot of people respond in conflict out of their emotions, hurt, loneliness. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're having a bad moment, whatever. But very few. How about you? Is that what do you think about
when
that?
You said that, I was trying to think about it, and you know what? I mean, guess girls are mean sometimes. So yeah, I mean, I can count on one hand. But yeah,
when they're actually mean on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose.
So it makes me just think, like, when somebody's being mean, they're being mean on purpose because they do something repeatedly. I'm not talking about the one-off thing, because you don't know if they're doing it on purpose or what it is. But when they do it time and time again, and it's like it's intentional. Like, I was asked, like, why do people do that? What is the point? And there's actually something really simple, and I want you to think about this. People are mean on purpose because of one thing: justification. Think about this. When someone lies to you, we are way more prone if somebody lies to us or does something we don't like, or even if, like, somebody leaves a mess and we have to clean it up, sometimes we'll, like, return the favor. Like we will, because they did it first, we will step outside of our own ideal self, we'll lower the bar on our own integrity and how we want to treat people because they did it first. They lied first, so I don't feel as bad about lying. They cheated. They stole. Maybe they gossiped. Maybe they just gave you a backhanded comment, or they talk with an edge with you. Like, they do something to you so that you're justified to lower your bar and do this on purpose. We see this all the time with kids and their siblings. I see this. I have 3 boys. So I see it all the time. Like, it's amazing, and parents talk about this all the time. My kids are amazing when they're in public. But behind closed doors with their siblings and with us, it's like you see another side of them. Why do we do that? Because we justify it. A sibling is weird or annoying or mean or does something just that bugs them. All of a sudden, siblings act a fool to each other because what? They justify it. Well, they did it to me first. Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting how everybody wants to live a 5-star life and wants to treat people with respect. But as soon as someone is disrespectful, all of a sudden, something changes in our mindset, and we think, well, the gloves are off. There's no longer this bar of respect anymore, so I'm going to lower my standards. And so we actually, just about everyone, like, I've been mean on purpose because I felt justified. Mm-hmm. They started it. I'm matching their behavior. And ultimately, if you want to, what we teach kids, like, man, if you want to live a 5-star life and you want to have great relationships and you want to be able to work through conflict, this idea of matching other people's behavior is not the way to go. Like being okay with being mean on purpose is not the way to go. You want to be consistently 5-star. And the key is to say, you know what? I'm going to have integrity. Integrity is being consistent. Just being the same person over and over and over. And it actually comes from a root Latin word, integris, which actually means to be whole or complete. And when you study human beings, it's the people who are whole, who are secure, who when someone goes off on them, when someone mistreats them, when someone lowers the bar, it's the people that are whole or complete. They have no desire to return the favor because they're whole. They're secure. They have integrity. They're just like, man, they must be having a bad day, or it's almost like you feel sorry for the other person. That's a high level place to live, because I've watched this happen in my own life, both when people showed me this grace, like when I mess up and somebody's like, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Did I say something? Did I do something to cause you to do this? It causes me to check myself. And I've watched when I've done that, when I've been the person with integrity, I've watched as my level of integrity has almost stopped the conflict, because people are like, oh, he's not going there. He has nothing to do with this. It either makes it worse and I have to walk away, or it causes them to think about it. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't cause me to lower the bar on how I want to treat people and leave them with the worst version of myself.
And I mean, as an adult, it's that kind of a natural process. I mean, it's when you're self-aware. But how is that for kids? Like, how do you teach kids to go through that process?
Well, we teach kids to literally, one of the things we teach is like, I had mentors pull me aside. There's a kid in my class that was racist. Like, he was mean on purpose. He was racist. And I'm not talking about like the fake racism we hear about today. Everything, you looked at me wrong, you're racist. You did this, everything is racism. And I'm talking about legit, the guy was racist. He didn't like me. He'd use the N-word all the time. He would bump me in the hallways. He was a total jerk, and it was just because of my skin color. And you tell me, like, I don't like you because you're black. Well, I teach students, like, the first thing I did is I talked to some of my mentors, right? I talked to some adults and just said, hey, what do I do? So I talked to some adults, and they gave me brilliant advice. They said, listen, don't take the bait. It's like, don't take the bait. You're like, yeah, it's like fishing. So a fisherman baits the hook trying to catch fish, because a fisherman has no power over fish unless that fish chooses to take the bait. You have power, but you give your power away when you take the bait. The bait is him bumping in the hallway. The bait is using the N-word. And so if you want to be powerful, you can't take the bait. Like show them your power. You have integrity, you have power, you have strength, you're whole, you're complete, you're beyond it, you're above it, right? And so I tried that, and first you had to take a deep breath, because it just makes you mad in the moment, because you feel like you want to give them a piece of your mind. You feel it, because everything in culture is teaching kids to stand up, put their fists in the air, stand your ground, give them a piece of your mind. And it's like, what? Okay. If you're being backed into a corner and you have to fight your way, yes, defend yourself. We're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody that's just being mean. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, you want to have integrity? You want to keep your power, or you want to give it away? What do you want to do? You want to be along for their ride? They're going to push your buttons or not? Okay, you don't want to, don't take the bait. Take a deep breath. Ignore them. Walk away. Like, when people are mean on purpose, they're not, like, they don't want to resolve a conflict. They want to fight. You just ignore those people. And sure enough, like clockwork, over the course of weeks and months, that person lost interest in bullying me and calling me the N-word, because he wasn't catching any fish.
Right. No reaction.
He had no power. Like a bully, a mean person's power is in controlling you. And when they can't, they're like, this isn't working. And so that's how it works for kids. All right. Good stuff. If you enjoyed that lesson, I want to encourage you. This is stuff that I believe every person, every student should learn how to have integrity, how to walk away from mean people instead of rising up. You can learn more at 5starlife.org. We'll be right back after this.
This is 5 Star Life Radio on News Talk 95.3 Michiana's News Channel, your breaking news and weather station.